Lesson 3, Lists. Video A, Overview, Creating a New List. All lists of the active client, its analysis results and optimization lists can be found in the List tab in the Client menu. In the List menu, you will find the same list. However, you can also view the lists of all other clients at a glance by clicking on the Show All. The column Desired State contains the name of the client to which the respective list belongs. The lists of the active client are shown in bold. You can sort the list by any column by clicking on the column header. A second click reverses the sort order. With this function, you can quickly find all lists of a specific client. As long as the button Show All is highlighted, you will see the lists of all clients. With another click, you switch back to the view of the active client. The lists are divided into 4 different categories, according to the settings of the transmission schedule. This is the data that specifies how often and for how long a list is to be sent into the information field. We will learn more about the schedule in an upcoming video. Active lists have an active transmission schedule. That is, they are sent in optimization mode. If you do not want to send a list with an active schedule or do not want to send it temporarily for certain reasons, move it with the mouse to the Deactivated Lists folder. The lists in this folder are therefore not sent even if the transmission schedule is active. To reactivate it, simply push it up again. If the transmission schedule has expired, that is, if the end date is in the past, it automatically ends up in the Expired Lists folder. From there, you can reactivate it by adjusting the schedule. We will explain more in video C. If you only want to save a list because of the analysis results without sending it, do not specify a transmission schedule. We call such lists analysis lists. They end up in the 4th folder. You can also convert these into an optimization list at any time by entering a transmission schedule. They will then automatically end up in the 1st folder. You can create lists in 2 ways. In the classic way, you perform an analysis and save the results as an optimization list to send the analysis results to the client's information field. More about this is in the 5th lesson. Here in the List menu, you can also create a list manually and enter your own information in the list. The list with this information can then be the starting point of an analysis. This procedure has proven itself because you can specify the focus on the desired result in a more targeted and differentiated way. We have dedicated a separate lesson to this method, in which we also give tips on the content design of your lists. First, how to handle the lists. Click on New to create an empty list. The list is automatically assigned to the active client, as you can see in the program bar. A window opens automatically in which you create the first entry. You will see 5 text fields, of which you can ignore the last, background information. The field is primarily used for certain databases and is described in more detail there. In principle, therefore, it is about present state and desired state entries. The present state entries are optional. You write what is in them. So usually what you don't want. Because every optimization is supposed to change something. So there's something I don't want. Let's take the example, I'm always under stress at work. The most important one is the desired state. What do I want? The central information you want to send should be there. Well, if I want to do my work stress-free, I can express it as follows. Quote, I am in the flow with my work and daily handle my tasks in a concentrated and relaxed manner. You can enter a description for each of these entries. This is one way of structuring longer text. In our case, for example, there is a specific situation that causes the most stress. I then write it in the field Present State Description and in desired state description I formulate it as positive information, as I want it instead. The present state or desired state therefore contains the heading and the text in the respective description field. We will see what this looks like in practice using the database entries. In most cases, you can restrict manual entries to the present state and desired state fields. In the right column, Symbols, you can also add an image, for example, a photo of my workplace. This works in the same way as with the clients. Below you can see buttons for relevance, intensity, and potency. In the analysis, the relevance expresses how relevant the analysis entry is for the client and his or her intention. For manual entries, this is 100% by definition, because you decide by writing that this entry is relevant. You can therefore leave this setting as it is. If you still want to enter a different value, simply use the slider. We will deal with the topic of intensity and potency later. For now, you can ignore these values. If the option Determine Intensities and Potencies automatically is activated, TimeWaver will take care of these values. You can either close the entry by clicking on OK, or you can click on New Entry if you want to create another entry. The first entry is closed and a new empty window opens. I add a positive affirmation. I leave the field Present State empty. Now you see the list with the two entries. In red is the present state, in green the desired state, both in bold. Below in normal font is the respective description. This way you can easily recognize the principle of headline text. The entries are numbered consecutively. The M indicates that this is a manual entry and not an analysis result. Next to it you will see the relevance, which we will deal with in more detail later. Icons and vibration patterns are displayed on the right. A vibration pattern is automatically generated for each manual entry, which is displayed here. You can open an entry for editing simply by double-clicking. Use the arrows at the bottom left to scroll through the entries. A name is automatically on the name assigned to the list when it is created. You can change this by clicking on the name at the bottom next to the Save button. Choose a meaningful name that represents the basic desired state of the list. Above the entries, you will find the transmission schedule. More about this later. Here I will show you how to remove the schedule by clicking on the minus icon. If you save the list now, it will end up in the fourth folder. That's it for now. As an exercise, please create a list of 3 manual entries, save them under their own name, and delete the schedule so that the list ends up in the fourth folder. We will expand this list in the next video.